Hello and welcome. Welcome back to Carnivore Scott, aka the Common Sense Carnivore, at least I hope, and my journey. Today, I don't know what day this marks in my carnivore journey. I have done it for, I want to say I was close to 60 or 90 days. And then the holidays came. I totally left the carnivore reservation, so to speak, or actually, I re-entered the big lie, sad, standard American diet reservation for about 2.5 months. But now I'm back, and here we are. So today is Monday. Mondays are tough days for a lot of people, and they shouldn't be a tough day for me as I don't have to get up and go to work anymore. So that's a blessing, and I don't want to um, demean it or downplay it. It really is kind of nifty. But along those lines, today is Monday, and just because I'm in retirement doesn't mean that I don't have things that need to get done. I decided to sleep in today, got to bed a little late, still dealing with that silly old time change stuff. You spring forward, but you lose an hour. Isn't that great semantics? Kind of like saying that broccoli is healthy for you, right? And we know better than that. Yes, I just had a little fun with that. But there are things that need to be done. And I got to bed a little late, still dealing with the time change. And so I woke up and it was almost 9 o'clock this morning, almost 8 o'clock my body time, which is a long time for me to be in bed if I get to bed at a decent hour. And I got to bed at a fairly decent hour last night. But I do remember I was tired yesterday, but I didn't get a nap. So I took it out at sleep time, which is probably more healthy for me. Everybody does say that, not everybody, but sleep study people, most doctors will tell you quality sleep is worth its weight in gold. And since I'm on a journey to get closer to my ideal health point, I have to get good quality sleep. But anyway, this morning came up, the sun came up, and I come out of the room and saunter over to make a cup of coffee. I do still drink coffee. I am down from multiple, sometimes pots in a day, down to 1 cup a day on average. I do drink hot tea. I like hot tea, and I can drink it with less sweetener. Now, that's the other thing. I've really got a sweet tooth, and I am fighting the sweet tooth monster day in and day out. And to facilitate that, I use saccharin, good old-fashioned saccharin, where I want to say saccharin might have been one of the top 10 vilified substances in the last 60 years. And it had a lot of junk science performed against it because it took the world by storm. And so they got some, I believe, my opinion, shady characters to do shady research. Gosh, where have we ever heard that before in the diet world? To say that saccharin was a cancer-forming material, and it isn't. But they wanted to eat into the market base so they could put the other sugars out there. Well, it worked. But saccharin was what they used in Tab. If you remember Tab, hopefully I can find a picture and put it in here. If you remember Tab, one of those first mainstream diet sodas, I fell in love with it. As nasty as it tasted, I fell in love with it. Mainly because it was the only soda left in the soda machine when all the others were out. So I would drink it. Necessity being the mother of invention. So I've always had a long relationship with saccharin. Now I did go and I was, had a dalliance with Splenda and all the other sugars, but I just don't like them. And they're not my original, and you know how that is. So I use saccharin because I don't believe it's cancer-forming. How do you like the way I butchered that? Not cancer-forming in small amounts, in moderation, so to speak. And it helps me to not use sugar. I guess you could say that the saccharin is my methadone, at least for now. But this week, starting this past Saturday, I decided if I'm going to put all this work into it, that I might as well wean myself from the saccharin, which will in turn wean me from the tea. And by doing that, I'll rid myself of the excessive caffeine, which we know caffeine in and of itself is a stimulant. It can be harmful. Depends on who you are and how you use it and how long you've been using it, how heavily you use it. And I know I've been a caffeine abuser. When you measure your coffee intake by the pot and your soda intake by the case, which is what it was for me for a while. I mean, not now in the last decade, except for the coffee. And I am so happy I have kicked that soda habit. What a I don't want to say horrible thing, but it sure wasn't a healthy thing. There we go. I mean, the carbonated water, you can get a soda stream and get yourself some carbonated water. So maybe it wasn't the carbonated water. I know there's some argument out there by purists, but I just don't need all the cup of chemicals. Like, remember that cup of soup we used to get, or you can still get real cheap? Cup of chemicals is what we called it. I don't need all that either. Just need to eat the proper human diet, to borrow that phrase once again. But so today, got up, had my cup of coffee, sitting in the office here, just kind of moaning and groaning. And it's been a long time. And the wife, she woke up at 5:30 as usual. And she's had a full 3 hours, in the stream. And she likes to do artwork. She did that painting that you see over there, right there, that painting. She did some of that. I did the other stuff hanging on the wall. But she goes up to her little studio and she paints and she has a good time. Then she comes down and she rumbles around and starts a breakfast brunch routine. Today we had more eggs. She's not real fond of eggs. They don't make her feel good, but she wants to help me be on that straight and narrow path, and I really appreciate that. Just like I said in yesterday's video, she's the same person who brought butter in Tupperware for me to have when we went to the hockey game on Saturday night. So I am immensely blessed and thankful. Did the breakfast thing, and then and I had, a couple scrambled eggs, some diced ham, and a big old hamburger patty with the extra hamburger fat over the top, and about 3 tablespoons of butter. So I think I've got my carbohydrates. Yeah, I got those under control. But I also got my protein to fat well in control there. Well, one of the things that happened this morning was the wife made a list. We operate off of lists because I don't have a lot of internal discipline, and there's always something to be done, and I'd rather sit here and talk to you all than do the things that need to be done. So my wife is gracious enough to say, hey, here's a list of things that we agree we need to do, and let's knock them off. Let's take care of them as we can. We might not get all of them at one time, but we'll get to them. And sometimes when we make a new list, we transfer things from one list to the other. You get the idea. The big outside projects, things like that. Well, today there was a supplementary list. And what was on that list, you say? Spring has sprung. It's spring cleaning time. And so spring cleaning means more than just vacuuming. Or as I like to say, mowing the carpet. But so we had breakfast and she popped right up and started dusting. Dusting was the first order of business for the common areas. So she starts dusting. I'm still eating because I have that great big hamburger patty. After eating the hamburger patty and everything else, I put everything in the sink. And because one thing, on this carnivore journey, have you all noticed that in your life you have a significant increase in greasy dishes? So I went ahead and did the dishes while they were still freshly greased and not caked on, solidified, and got my Dawn out. I'm not sponsored by Dawn, but the carnivore community would do well to have Dawn as an official sponsor of Carnivore Life. Did the dishes, and she's still dusting, finished the dishes, and she's done dusting. And I said, well, if you've done dusting, it's time to do vacuuming. So I got out the vacuum and started vacuuming. And you know what? That's a workout. I'm sorry. I may not have said that before, but when you vacuum the entire common area of a house, and you feel it, and I felt it, and it was wonderful. I felt it in my deltoids, I felt it in my back muscles, the latissimus dorsi, the lats, and I felt it all over here, in my body. And I was thinking, I know the lats are down here, deltoids are over here. I got it, but I really felt it, and I was like, huh, this is pretty good. I even did alternate arms so I could back and forth this little shark-like machine, Did all the vacuuming, and then it was on to mopping. And you know what? I kind of like the mop. We have a Swifter. I don't like the Swifter things. The pads are smelly, they're drippy, and they don't last very long. We have that hardwood laminate floors. Um, so you do a little bit, and it's on a kind of a long, hard base, and it has a very little flex to it. And we have grooves in the wood, to give that faux wood look. Well, it doesn't really just clean in there as well as I like it. So after vacuuming, I got out the mop, I got the mop bucket, and we haven't really mopped the whole house like we did the day before. We got a little mop, we do little areas, and we do Swifted, but not the whole thing. Had a good time, finished that up. All in all, I'd say it took about 90 minutes, a little less than 90 minutes to dust, vacuum, dish, and mop all the common areas here. The hallways, the living room, the front room, the kitchen and dining area. So, and the other hall and bathroom. So we got it all done up, and now our house smells nice and lemony fresh. I worked up a sweat. That was great. And it was right after eating. So all those muscles, my leg muscles having to twitch and move as I move the mop and do things. And I like to pick up the furniture and move it out of the way. And I can kind of do that with one hand and vacuum with the other hand and put it back, so we go back and forth. So I got some good exercise. So I'm really hoping that my HDL will be up, because I'm sure my legs and my back were screaming for energy, and there's very little carbohydrates. I don't think there's very much glucose or glycogen stored in my muscles. So my old liver kind of gin up some energy, and as energy resources being called up, they can grab. I didn't know all this. I thought I knew a lot, but I know. Well, this is what I know. I have two books on my shelf. One is my book of knowledge, and one is my book of ignorance. And by far, my book of ignorance is larger than my book of knowledge. So as I throw more stuff into that book of knowledge, I used to think that your body put fat out on your fat cells. True, your liver and all that, puts it out there. And then when you needed it, your body sent signals, hormone signals and stuff, and fat was recruited out of fat cells, sent all the way up to the liver. At the liver, it turned over into glycogen, then shipped back out to all your muscles. Little did I know that the great designer himself said, no. As fat's going by, it just can reach out and grab some of those long-chain fatty acids. It doesn't have to go through all that process, and that muscle cells and cells of the body can take lipids and can take fat that are in your system and maybe nearby, and as it passes by, you can grab it and do what it needs to do. Isn't that amazing? Absolutely amazing. But anyway, got all the mopping and everything, all the cleaning, and I still have to beat out some carpets. Normally what we do, we vacuum the carpets and then we put them back down. But today I'm going to take them outside here a little bit, and I'm going to bat on them a little bit and get the deep-seated dust and stuff out of there. Then I'll vacuum them. Then I'll put them on my newly and clean mopped floors. And then the little ones, the little area ones. So today has been a lot of house cleaning. And you know what? I think by doing the house cleaning, I've been doing some internal body cleaning. And I'm really going to like that. So I just want to keep it kind of short. I didn't want to get too crazy in the length of this one. I do know, though, there's a topic that I have been listening to, and my wife sent a wonderful article on. And I'm going to get on to this in the next one. It's going to be a little more of I don't want to say a teaching or teachable one, but what I want to do is I want to see if I can find the article, and then I'll share more of it. My wife, she sent it to me, and it's wonderful. And it is an article that's basically dealing with the gut biome. So there you go, once again, a gut biome thing. But how the there's research being conducted now. Now, how rigorous that research is, I'm not going to qualify that. I don't think I'm even qualified to. But to know that there's research on the gut microbiome and people who have alcohol utilage or use disorder, so alcoholics or pre-alcoholics or binge alcoholics or people like that, but how some people are more susceptible to the I won't say the addiction, but maybe that's a strong word, but the preferential desire for alcohol, even after going out of alcohol, because the gut biome is all messed up. And I want to couple that with another data point that talks about a gastroenterologist who is showing that the COVID spike protein and the COVID immunization, quote unquote, have really caused damage to the gut biome and really eliminated some pretty important bacteria for our gut. And that the dying off of this material has really made it tough for people to heal. And all the time, doctors and pharmacists, and no, not pharmacists, but pharmacological businesses, those guys, the drug makers, let me just put it that way. Pharmaceuticals, thank you. Pharmaceuticals, they want to deal with something that deals at the point of what they think the impact is, like in the brain. So let's get another neurotransmitter exciter or diminisher. Let's either block it or make more of it or change the channel, in those neurotransmitters. But they never really get to that underlying, well, why is it so off kilter in the brain? Do that, what do you call it, regressive testing, right? Regression testing. Let's go back. Let's reverse engineer this and say, where can we get closer to the source of the problem versus getting it at that distal end? It's like troubleshooting electronics that people will call up their help desk and say, my Dumaflachi isn't working. And the first thing the tech will say on the tier 1 help desk is it plugged in? Is it powered on? Have you restarted it? You know the routine. We've all been there, unless it's a hairdryer. So I think that's an interesting topic that I'd like to investigate more, because in the whole discussion about the alcohol and gut biome, there was a significant segment that dealt with leaky gut. Oh, where have we heard this? If we could repair the leaky gut, we could be at the beginning of a cascade of events. So I'll do another video. I'll dedicate another video to all that, so I won't bog you down. But I hope each and every one of you is having a fantastic day. I know there's lots of places you could be right now. There are so many videos you could be watching. Some of them are actually well edited and entertaining. Others are just like mine, where we're just sharing our hearts. I was on a live stream last night with the 700-pound club. That would be with Todd and Lindsay and Lindy down under, right? So we got Lindy and Todd and Michael, and they were doing their thing. And I believe we ended up having Brett come on, right? And it was an interesting time, but it's amazing how much time we can spend talking about things that aren't really just about what are we eating, but how are we feeling and how we are interacting and how supportive this community is. So I do want to try to capture even a small bit of my my genuine appreciation for you taking time to watch the video and to provide supporting comments and to share the message with other people. And I really hope that over time we can build this community in my neck of the woods, of the YouTube universe, a community of supporting and caring people who can talk about a wide variety of topics, but in the end, just be supporting to one another. So again, thank you so much. And if I can ever be of a help or assistance to you, by all means, let me know. And I will do my very best But until I can get back to you next time, take care, God bless, and we'll see you later on. Bye-bye.